Do you know what? Yeah, I was thinking about. I was saying it to EA Sports today. You know, last week, we spoke about very briefly. We spoke about the situation with the people that were at the airport, even though they punched up the police officers beforehand.
Imagine if we couldn't see.
Yeah. So we did see a lot more. And what it opened up my eyes to is I said 12 years previously, before that, there was an incident. The comments reminded me, God bless you, it was 13 years. But that got me thinking, like, so 13 years ago, that happens. In 2024, drill's on the rise. So I started thinking about a timeline of events that I can recall, where I can quickly access some dates so we can start having some decent thinking about how we can solve problems with more information. So drill's doing badly. I mean, everything's
doing bad, by the way. We need to have a conversation about that one, like a proper conversation.
100%.
I'm not going to stop you, but
drill's doing badly. But crime rate is on the rise in terms of knife crime. We've had apparently the worst crime rate stabbings in London and for knife crime, since 2000. 2020.
Sorry to interrupt you again. Yeah, it's not even just Wolverhampton is crazy for it, bro.
No, I'm not suggesting. I'm just telling you.
I'm just adding more. Like Wolverhampton, like Birmingham, all these places, they're getting.
But they're not influential for a drill sound.
Okay.
So we keep getting the drill sound is the one thing that is consistently spoken about amongst ignorant groups as the reasons why there is a rise in knife crime. So I'm saying
still.
The conversation still crops up. It's still there about maybe not amongst our community anymore, but it's just something for people to think about. If youth provision was closed down, it said, if you can put in the first image, from 2011 to 2021. You want me to show it? Yes, if you don't mind showing it, just so Chucky can see what we're speaking about. It's the reasons why I sent it to you, EA Sports. I'm so glad you're on the ball, and I'm so glad your trim looks nice. Things will change next week. Oh, not as much as you.
This is 2 weeks in a row I'm not having it.
No, last week was crazy. I saw that back. We can talk about that another time. That was crazy. But so we can stay on point right here. It just says from 2011 to 2021. If you make it a little bit larger for me, I'm visually challenged. This is me cussing myself at this point, my friend. From 2011 to 2021, local authority provision funding in England fell from real terms from 1,058 million to 408 million.
1 billion.
So 1 billion to half a billion. Now, that may look like a hell of a lot of money, and people might go, oh, Poet, there is still a huge amount of money there, but I don't know how it's broken down. But what I will tell you is this, Chucks. When there was a lot of youth provisions, there was one youth provision that existed in Walthamstow that Colin Baxter was heading. It was called DV8. And with DV8, Getz was around, Devlin was around, Griminal was around. So what it meant was there was a middle ground. There was this middle ground before you went to a record label, which was a youth club, but it was kind of disguised as a smaller label where you had people like Colin Baxter that would help you and gear you up and get you ready for that label commitment. So you wouldn't just go from the roads to the label. They've closed that down, and now we're talking about rises in knife crime. They said the highest rise in 2020 would have been when there was COVID, so there was nothing for people to do. But look how long there's not been much for young people to do, and take a look at how there's been a growth in knife crime. Without youth provisions, there is not even a safe space for these artists to go before they go to a label. They're going from the roads to the label, which means they're making huge amounts of money, going back to the roads, and probably God knows what's happening. So I'm just saying, when are we going to start thinking about what we can put in place? I'm not saying we ain't in control of making more youth provision, but as a community, what can we put in place to replace the youth provisions where young people can go, feel safe, get the necessary life skills, and take them forward into record labels, take them forward into the creative space, or working in the 9 to 5, wherever. That space that's not there, we're seeing an increase in violence. We can't act like they're not coinciding in some capacity.
Oh, I hear you.
So I just want to know, I want to open up the conversation to people that are in places of responsibility and power and influence to ask yourself what we can do for 2025, because 2024 is over, my G's, man. We need to start planning for next year from now, and what we can do and put in place, because I don't think we should blame the young people now. If you take a look at that, their outcome is drill. That looks like a cry for help. If you take a look at it deeply, they do get help, and then they end up changing their lives, their careers. There's plenty of examples. Heady One is the most recent. Talks about he doesn't even like the fact that he done no better. What else are we gonna put in place, people?
Because that was a real life situation.
That was a real life situation. So there's only put it this way, Because some people that I knew close was making a joke about the situation the other day, losing $250,000. I make a joke about it. It's funny, innit? But in real life, there are people affected. And that's one thing people need to understand about our culture. Sometimes your entertainment is someone else's real life. Just like we're speaking about this Vibes Cartel situation. Sometimes the entertainment is, you know, is someone else's real life. And where it's so close to home, just be mindful of that.
Yeah, the knife thing right now is absolutely bonkers. And
is that someone
my algorithms, is someone trying to think? My algorithms is doing bare fucking stuff in regards to that. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, look, man, there's so many angles that you can use to cover that. I respect the angle that you've come from and that as well. And like, I actually genuinely feel for a lot of them, because I just know that a lot of these youths are terrified. I just know that a lot of them are terrified. And within being terrified, the youths have said to me, in that, I would much rather have it on me than not have it.
Of course. And you take a look at, for example, I can ask you just a
This
general question.
is why it's getting longer as well, by the way. I think one of the reasons why it's turned into the machete thing is because, listen, if you've got a small little thing, and someone else has got a small little thing, there's just a good chance that you're going to be able to stab each other. If you got a long one, then you can go and hit man from a distance and that. And it's like, this is happening all over the place right now. And it is absolutely mental, bro.
But when you're talking about life and death, people are just going to carry bigger artillery that helps them feel safe. Yeah. Where else does that happen? With countries, they get bigger weapons to kill other countries just so they can feel safe. So let's not just blame young people. That mechanic is definitely coming from somewhere that's got nothing to do with young people. And I'm just saying, as a culture, I can't speak about what other cultures do, but I'm noticing that other cultures like to put down these young people. And I'm saying, can we potentially be looking at the fact that they've actually had stuff taken away from them? Yeah. And now they're trying to fill up that time with situations that are now becoming their actual life. So you know that kid that went to the youth club and he was able to go there and harness something, which meant he wasn't involved in the nonsense that was happening. Now that youth club's closed, he walks past the nonsense and now is somewhat involved. I'm saying, how do we help the young people instead of putting them in shit situations and say, figure it out? I'm tired of it. Let's, as a community, figure out how we can help. You're done now.
Well, as you've always said as well, like, you just got, a lot of the time as well, you got to try and work on the next youths that are coming through. Yes. Because some of these lot, the sad reality is that, yeah, something's been taken away from them, which is a contributing factor to why they're here. But then ultimately, at the end of it, somebody's died. And then in somebody dying, these lot are just trying to get...
But you know what's so... I understand. Do you know what's so mad about that? Not to say that you weren't going to make this point. All of them groups of people are part of situations where they're being educated to prepare them for life.
Yeah.
So if there's mistakes happening within that, in my mind, that makes sense. So what are the senior individuals doing to counteract them situations that are going to happen in multiple different ways anyway? It's if you do nothing about it, this is what it looks like. If you do something about it, maybe it's just a fist fight. So now that it's at knives,
or there's just a lot less of it.
Or there's a lot less of it. But if we do nothing about it, because in my days it's come from fist fights, now we're fully on knives. So if we still do nothing about it, because in 10 years it's gone from that to knives, so when does it just become guns and just fully guns? What, another 10 years if we do nothing?
Well, if our gun laws was weak and it was like how it was in America, understand what it would be like right now.
It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy. But they're implementing stronger knife laws and all of that, and I just think we're doing it the wrong way round. They put in more police.
I just don't think that does anything.
But Chucky, the McCann of it.
Don't care about that.
But they put police in because of 2011.
Yeah.
So because of a one-off incident, they employ more police. So now the feel of the country is different. If you see more police around, don't you think it's just a bit more of a dangerous area? So now you're putting more police in an area that's not dangerous just to govern it, to make it feel safe. That makes it feel worse. And when it feels worse, people respond badly. When people respond badly, these are contributing factors to why we're here. I'm not saying it's the sole reason. I'm not saying I figured it out. I don't think I'm that smart. I think I'm like this smart and that smart.
Can I be honest with you? I don't even think that these, like, how deep some of this has got even amongst them and where they're at right now. I don't even think that they're, like, the police is not what they're worried about at all.
Because we've passed that point.
They don't care about them.
No, that created the environment, Chucky.
Yeah.
They're not aware of it. Like I said, it's young people. young impressionable people that believe they're making decisions because they're making it, and they only get older and realize, raw, that environment played a part into me making that decision. So what I'm saying, what are we doing to that environment to make these young people make alternative decisions? We're not doing much. We're just youth provision's gone, and now all we're doing is getting 17, 18-year-olds and saying, let's bring you to the label. And it's like, raw, there's no middle ground. So now we're making young people be adults in a split second, despite the fact their actual life is crazy and they conduct themselves like children. But we bring them to somewhere, tell them adults, and then expect them to conduct themselves like adults. I just think it's a bit crazy. I don't think that middle ground where our community can create something is actually creating something, and we're expecting too much of people that have never shown you that they were able to deliver that in the first place. Getting exhausting.
I think a lot of these youths are not trying to be rappers though. Like, a lot of them don't necessarily know what they want to do yet, which is normal.
I'm comfortable with that.
But yeah, of course. It's just, I guess, like, it's one of the reasons why it's important to discuss, or even for other people that work in different fields, to talk about the fields that they work in, to show that there are things that you can actually do to make money, other than actually going to a label and being an artist and then signing a shit deal anyway. And
I only use that as an example because of the drill thing. Do you know what I'm saying? There's multiple things you can do. Sorry to cut you, Chucky. Yeah. Of course we are aware of that, but I just think as a culture, everything that is able to do for young people now has to be industrialized. It has to be within this parameter of professionalism. And I'm just like, well, youth provision's gone, crime's on the rise. Where is the middle ground, people? I believe we can do it. You done know. Hakuna Matata.